Good day, students. Welcome back to another language arts session. Today our focus is going to be on suffix. Last week we looked on prefix, and today we're going to be looking on something that is very similar in nature to that. You're going to be listening to a video. At the end of the video, we're going to be answering some questions. If you notice on your screen, you see 4 different sets of words. I am sure these words are familiar to you.
An affix is a word part that is attached or affixed to a root word. Sometimes an affix comes before a root word or stem, and sometimes it comes after. When it comes after the root word, it is called a suffix. The root word is the main part of a word that gives that word its basic meaning. When you attach a suffix to a root word, you add a little extra information, and that can change how the word gets used. There are many different suffixes, and they all make very different changes to root words. Some of them even make different changes, depending on what part of speech the root word is. For instance, if you add the suffix er to a verb, it turns the verb into a noun, making it a person or thing that does the action of the verb. Mrs. Cooper's job is to teach. In that sentence, teach is a verb. Mrs. Cooper is a teacher. Now it has turned into a noun. Teacher. If you add the suffix er to an adjective, you're now comparing it to something else, and it is more or greater by comparison. My brother is fast. In that sentence, we didn't compare him to anyone. My brother is faster than me. Now we are comparing him to me, and he's faster. Some suffixes change the tense of your root word. For example, if you add a suffix like ed to a verb, you turn it into a past tense verb. That ed tells you that this was in the past. It already happened. James is going to wait for the bus. In that sentence, the verb could be happening currently or in the future. James waited for the bus. In that sentence, the verb definitely happened in the past. He already waited. Other suffixes give you a clue about the status of your root word like ed does. If you add a suffix like ing to a verb, you turn it into something that is not complete or it is currently going on. That ing tells you that the action is happening now. Jennifer will work on the project. In that sentence, the verb work is not currently happening. Jennifer is working on the project. In that sentence, the action is happening right now. Jennifer is working now. Just keep in mind that while the root or stem of a word tells you the basic meaning, a suffix can change how you use the word.
Now, students, we are going to be answering some questions based upon our video. So, first question. What is an affix? So, I want you to think back to the video and to state what is an affix. Well, let's see if you are correct. Well, an affix is a letter or group of letters or word that is added to the beginning or the end of a root word. And we know that a root word is a word standing by itself. So, for example, last week we did prefixes. If I say happy, happy by itself would be the root word. If I added the prefix on, then I'm going to be getting a new word. So I would get unhappy. So the root word stands by itself. The root word has its own meaning. Second question. What is the affix at the end of a root word called? What is the affix that is placed at the end of a root word called? It is called a suffix. Now, I want you to think back to the video. Can you name or identify any of the suffixes that was seen in the video? There are several of them, but I just want to see if you remember any. So let's see. In, est, her, er, ish, ish, and ed, ed. Now, we are going to be taking a closer look at suffixes. So as was mentioned earlier, a suffix is a letter or group of letters or word that is added at the end of a root word. Now, all suffixes have their own meaning. So we know that root word has a meaning, and the suffix also has a meaning. What this means that when we combined both your suffix and your root word, you're going to be getting a totally different meaning for that new word. So let's look on this example. The suffix men, M-E-N-T, meant. This means the action or result of. So for example, enjoyment. So the root word would be enjoy and the suffix would be meant. We could say that enjoyment means what? The result of enjoying something. Alright, that's accepted. Now, when a suffix is added to a root word, it changes the meaning or part of speech of the root word. So let's look at this example. Kind. The word kind by itself is an adjective. If I should add the suffix ness to it, N-E-S-S, I am going to get a new word, kindness. Well, the word kindness, it is a noun. So there are times when you add a suffix to a word of a word that you added it to, and the new word we have totally different parts of speech. Now, in most cases, a suffix is simply added to the root word. So in most cases, we just add. So enjoy, put on ment to it, enjoyment. Kind, put an S on it, we get kindness. Boy, we put an S onto it, we get boys. However, there's something that we need to keep in mind. So, for some root words, spelling changes may be needed when adding a suffix. Now, these changes are the same changes done when we are looking on the topics such as singular and plural. Verb tenses, changing the degrees of adjectives, etc. So, for example, we know that when we have a consonant before a Y, we add an S. Wrong. Got you. So let's go. When we have a consonant before my Y, I change my Y to I and I add ES. For example, cherry. CHERRY. Where's an R before a Y, so we need to change that Y to I and add ES. So we get CHERRRIES. You could do the same thing for a knife. KNIFE. In this case, we are going to be changing FE to V and adding ES. So knives would be KNIVES. Right? Your verb tense, you did the action yesterday. So we would add ED to the verb. But for example, suppose the verb ended with a Y. I'd have to change my Y to I and add ED. Suppose we're doing adjectives and I'm comparing two persons. And I have a word big. So I am big, B-I-G. But I'm going to compare my brother as well. So I am bigger than my brother. In this case, I would have to double the G because it has a CVC pattern with a short vowel sound. So we would end up with B-I-G-G-E-R. So, some of these rules we include doubling the consonant, changing the IE to Y. For example, tie. T-I-E, I tie my shoes lace. I want to change it because I did it yesterday. I tied it. T-I-E-D. Okay? Also have to consider when we keep the Y and make an addition, or when we change the Y to I. And also when we drop the E from a particular word, or when we keep the E. So for example, take, T-A-K-E. I take the bus. I am taking the bus. In this instant, I would have to drop my E, add an I-N-G. Alright, so all the rules that you do in language arts also applies when we're talking about suffixes. Let's read this passage. And after we have read the passage, we are going to be identifying the words that contain suffixes. All about me. My name is Mr. Smith. I am an engineer and teacher. I am a caring, friendly, playful, and kind gentleman. I am the tallest of my 3 siblings. I enjoy building buses and buildings and the factories. Can you identify the words here that have suffixes at the end of them? Let's see if you are correct. Engineer. What do you think we add to the word engineer? We add E-E-R. Teacher. What would we add for a teacher? E-R. What about caring? In this case, we will have to do some changes. So we'll have to change our E to I and add N-G. Friendly. We add L-Y. Playful. We added F-U-L. Next word is tallest. We added S-E-S-T. Siblings. We added S. Buses. We added E-S. Factors. What did we do here? We changed the Y to I and added E-S. And buildings. Sorry. What did we add to the word building? We added I-N-G. So, let's see if you got all the answers correct now. So, root word would be engine, and the suffix here, E-E-R. Teacher, teach, and her. What about caring? We have care and in. Friendly. friend and ly. Tallest, tall and s. Oh, playful. We have play and suffix full. Next one is siblings. We have sibling and s. Building, build and in. Buses, we have bus and s. Factory, we have factory and s. Alright, so hope you got it all correct. So the endings in, ly, full, est, s, in, and s are just a few of the suffixes that we have. Now we are going to be looking on a few of them, few of the common ones, and we're also going to be looking on their meanings. What I've done is that I've put them in particular categories. So I've done them in terms of parts of speech. So we have noun suffixes first up. So we have the suffixes er, eer, ment, or, s, or es, and these are only a few of them, as I stated. So we're going to be looking on the meanings. When we see a word ending with er, it means what? It means someone who performs an action. So for example, helper. So an helper would be someone who helps. So her tells you the person who does an action. Let's look on the other examples. Teacher. So we could see a person that teaches or teach. Preacher. We could say with someone who preaches. We have dancer, and we could say someone who dances. So er, someone who performs an action. Let's go to her. EER. And this means engaged in something associated with something. So there are two similar meanings here. To be associated with something or engaged in something. So for example, auctioneer. So this means a person who is involved in auctions. An engineer. An engineer is a person who builds things. We have a profiteer, or profiteer at least. person who makes a profit. Alright, we're moving on to MENT, meant. And that means the result of or an action. So enjoyment. Enjoyment would mean the action of enjoying. Movement, the action of moving. Retirement, the action of retiring. So meant means the action or result of. Or, O-R. And this means a person who is something. So a doctor, a conductor, and there are many other words. Just looking on a few today. Whenever we see words ending with S or ES, it means more than one. Plural. Once you see, you know that you're talking about plural words. Books, boxes, churches, brushes, etc. Alright, so these are the four that we're looking on as it relates to nouns. Let's go over to verbs. And we know that verbs are action words. Yes, we have other types of verbs, but in most cases we are action verbs. They are actions being done. Alright, so let's look. So, if you see a word ending with ED, for example, prayed, smiled, laughed, it means past tense of an action. Means the past tense of an action means that this action has already taken place. It's already gone. So laughed, climbed, called. So the root word would be climb, called, call, and laugh. Those are the root words. If I see the word or particular word ending with en, it means what? Means become. For example, soften, to become soft. Fasten, to become fast. Lengthen, to become longer. So when we see the suffix en, means to become. If I see a word ending with ing, laughing, swimming, diving, it means that this action is currently taking place. It is usually used with verbs that are shown with present or past continuous tense. Eyes, I-Z-E, for Americans spell it I-S-E, and it means to cause or to become. For example, memorialized, for example, authorized, commercialized. So these are 3 examples. So once you see any of these 3, you know that that word is a verb. Let's continue. We're going to be looking on adverbs. So if it ends with ly or ward word, then we know that most likely this word is going to be an adverb. Ly. For example, simply, bravely, honestly, gladly. We know that it is telling us the manner or how something was performed or done. The boy ate greedily. It's telling you how the boy ate. The manner in which he ate. So he did it greedily. Gladly. Which means that he did it willingly. He was happy to do it. Right? Let's go to word. W-E-R-D. When we see this on the end of words, it means in a certain direction. So it could say backward, wayward, awkward, afterward, and these are meaning direction. Going in a certain direction. So once you see any of these 2, we know they are adverbs. We're going to be looking on they said that are adjectives now. Able, and it could be ended with able or ible, and it means capable of being. Capable of being. Preventable. Capable of being prevented. Adaptable. Capable of being adapted. Predictable. Capable of being predicted. Credible. Capable of being credible. Well, I use the same word, but yes. Alright? We also have a set that ends with ALL. And it means pertaining to. pertaining to, natural, pertaining to nature, criminal, pertaining to crime, seasonal, pertaining to a season. There are some words that also end with the suffix ARY. And it means of or relating to. Of or relating to. Example: planetary, relating to plants. Military, pertaining to the army. Honorary, pertaining to be honored, or the status of being honored. Now this one you should know. When you see ER, and there are two. We have ER that relates to persons, and there's also ER that relates to an adjective. If you see it in a word such as big, small, then we know it's an adjective. And these are what we call comparative adjectives. So we could see ER or EST. So for example, faster, or we could say fastest, bigger, biggest, fit, fitter, fittest, longer, or we could say longest. Let's look on a few more. FUL, full, and it means full or full of or notable of. It's a grateful, full of grace, beautiful, full of beauty, wonderful, fanciful. We have another set of adjectives that ends with IVE, and this relates to with quality or relating of. Creativity, expressive, expensive, pensive, we also have LESS, less, and this means without something. Boneless, without bone. Featherless, without feathers. Faultless, without fault. Fearless without fear. Restless without rest. Right? And we also have some that ends with a Y. Not all word ends with Y now. Remember that the word has to make sense that you are adding the Y to. The Y means made up of or characterized by. So for example, brainy. So that means you have a lot of brain. Or intelligent. Fruity, made up of fruits. Tasty, this would be characterized by taste. So it is tasty, tasting good. Greedy. Alright? So, do hope you learned something new from these suffixes and their meanings. Let's look on this activity. In this activity, you are going to be filling in the missing suffix or word to complete each. Oh, I gave away number 1. So number 1 should be sad. Your answer is sadly. So what would be the suffix that we added? It would be ly. Alright, so number 2, we have the root word help. We have the suffix full. So what's our new word? Our new word is helpful. Number 3, we do not know the root word, but the suffix is in, and the new word is caring. So what is our root word? Our root word is care. Excite. We do not know the suffix, but we know that the new word is excited. What did we add? We added T. Okay, let's continue. So here we have no root word. However, our suffix is meant, and our word is enjoyment. So what is our root word? Our root word is enjoy. We have church plus ins, so we get, what's the new word? Churches. And for the last one, we have the word biggest, but we have no root word, and the suffix is s. So what is our root word? Our root word is big. Hope you got your answers correct. It is now time for your classwork. And your classwork says, add a suffix to each root word so it is matched, so it matches the meaning below. So there are 8 meanings there. Here we have 8 root words and 4 suffixes. Each of these suffixes will be used twice. So the root words are beauty, care, cost, drive, arm, up, most, and teach. And our suffix her, full, less, and ly. So let's look on free activity. First one says not having any hope. Not having any hope. So your answer is hopeless. Our word's a person who drives a motor vehicle. Very pretty, almost totally. Person who teaches especially in a school. Expensive. Not being care. Not being so you're going to be writing your answers on the line. Have a wonderful day, students, and see you again soon.